Welcome to the RawDawgers Sportscast Live. I'm Sean Watson.
I'm Ron Kessler.
How's it going, bud? I'm getting right down to it now. Gonna be the, not a big weekend for us this weekend. No. First thing I want to do is give a shout out to Jesse Boyd. He was the winner of our t-shirt contest last week. We gained quite a few more subscribers on YouTube. I appreciate it. Appreciate everybody sharing that. Of course, the contest was to pick the winning score of the Browns-Jets game, which we'll get into here in a minute because we went to that game. And then the tiebreaker was total yards for Joe Flacco to pass last week against the Jets. Another shout-out to Kevin Painter, though, who had 300 yards as Flacco's total in passing, and Flacco hit 309.
Yeah, he almost had 300 in that first half.
We'll get into that. But actually, let's just go ahead and do it right now. Anyway, Jesse, I also want to tell you congratulations on the birth of your new child.
Baby.
It's awesome. Thanks for following us. We will get that shirt to you. I know that we said tried to set up something. Of course, we didn't know that you were about to have another child last week either. So, but that's on us. We'll get it to you here at some point. Get a hold of us, whatever. Jets Browns. Last week we went to the game. Of course, we did the pod before we went up to Cleveland. Pre-gamed quite a bit. Then went to Cleveland. I had to piss at least 2 or 3 times on the way because I have either an enlarged prostate or small woman-sized bladder.
In no way would it be the 6 beers you had here during the
podcast. I mean, I'm not going to go there. I mean, I had an Uber. I mean, that was me, but myself and I were driving, so it was just, it was fantastic. We did the pod, drove up there. We had our predictions. Paint was in last week. Well, it was great to have Painter back, by the way. Thanks, Paint, for coming in. Always just some awesome organic material that Painter throws out.
Right.
But getting into that game, the game really probably more, I shouldn't say what we expected to happen. We kind of expected to happen with the Jets being down to Trevor Seaman, doing his shit, the journeyman from Northwestern. Who's probably violated there if you listen to our podcast from this past preseason. I'm just saying. But went up. What did we score in, what was it? We had 34 points just in the first half. Only scored 3 in the second.
34-14 and a half.
Yeah.
It was over.
Yeah, it was basically done. Robert Saleh over there.
Even though we tried our best to give him a chance to get back in with all the fucking fumbles. Jesus.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So the one big thing that I didn't like from, although I have been kind of down on him, is Elijah Moore. I guess he came out of the game with a concussion.
He's already practicing again.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
So starting into this game, this coming weekend, we play the Crying Bengals. Should have queued the fucking Bengals song right there, the Bengals polka or some bullshit.
Right.
But playing the Bengals this week. Also, just found out who else is out. Anthony Walker is now on the IR instead of just.
So that's 4 weeks, which means
right.
He wouldn't be back until the Super Bowl.
Right.
Super Bowl.
Elijah Moore practicing though.
He'll be back for the playoffs.
Okay.
I mean, that's not 100%, but I would say it's leaning that way.
Right.
If he's already practicing. I mean, hell, he was practicing on Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh, was he this week? I didn't see that. Okay. All right, good.
He wasn't even on the injury report.
Right. But he was during the game. Well, I don't think I really realized how bad it was until after the game.
Yeah, I mean, we were
having fun down in the pit. Hey, getting back to that game, though. So, up at the stadium this last week, I wanted to bring this. Yeah. What up, Rob? Getting back to the game this past Thursday, though. So, apparently, Dude Wipes was sponsoring a jersey swap from any former Browns quarterback. Had to be a quarterback. Right in front of the stadium. We got up there plenty early. We were tailgating down in the pit by about 3:30, which was probably way too soon. But you and Pate made the long trek up to the stadium from the pit. Tell us about that a little bit. So,
all right. So they were supposedly giving out, exchanging jerseys from 4:30, or it was 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Well, they only gave out 100 tickets.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought weren't they saying it was going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000?
They didn't say that. They just said they were doing that but it said while supplies last.
Okay, well,
I'm
that's
thinking
fair.
if you're doing it for 3 hours, you would at least have 1,000.
Right.
There's 100 tickets.
Thursday night game, gonna clinch, or should clinch.
Right.
Yeah, you think you'd be more prepared.
I had
but
2 freaking Baker jerseys, so I'm like, hell yeah, I never wear them anymore.
Right, why not?
Well, I should just put Kessler on it, but then it's fucking Cody Kessler, so then I look like an asshole. So they're fucking useless. If anybody wants them, let me know.
Right.
You can have them.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember you guys coming back down the hill and down to the pit. Just looked like somebody stepped on your balls on the way back. But anyway, there were people in the line that were actually selling their spots in the line, right, for like $50 a pop.
Oh,
so
we tried.
Up. Oh no, I thought there was people that were actually
went up
trying
there
to sell.
And I was like, "You guys want to make $50?" And they're like, "You have to have a ticket." I'm like, "You want to make $50?"
Right. I mean, you want this jersey, or because they were offering what? It was Watson, Flacco, or Chubb, right? Jerseys
No,
that they were.
Watson, Flacco, Chubb, Ward, and I believe Miles.
Oh, okay, all right. I didn't know about the other two, but I knew at least those first three. Of course, I'm sure the Flacco jersey went first.
I'm sure.
But I mean, if anybody,
Flacco or Chubb.
If anybody went there and actually got one, I would love to hear about it. I mean, throw it out to us on social media, whatever. We'll give you a shout out on the podcast.
Right.
But just all.
Well, and we were saying, I'm like,
I have to laugh. I have to laugh about it for the simple fact that the most Cleveland thing there is being sponsored by fucking Dude Wipes.
Right. And then they should have put that in the thing. First 100 fucking people, not.
Well,
we're gonna be here for 3 hours. Why are you gonna be there for 3 hours? It should have been as soon as that bitch started. You're in, you're out.
But I mean, I know Dude Wipes is trying to promote themselves and everything, but not exactly a huge company to be doing. And I get it. I mean, you want to keep getting your name out there, but
well, and I would think too, the Browns probably didn't make them pay full price or at all for those jerseys.
Right. It was probably
because they're sponsoring the Browns. You know what?
So True.
I doubt they fucking lost a dime.
So, I mean, Dude Wipes, obviously, probably never getting invited back, especially if we do have some fireworks here in the postseason, which we're expecting. Coming up to this game, though, this weekend, Browns take on the Bengals down in their fucking Chili Bowl. And we're just going to start calling it that. I don't know if you want to call it the Gold Star Bowl, Chili Bowl, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But going to that concrete palace that they like to call a stadium down there in Kentucky. Nothing really matters because the Bengals were eliminated the same time the Browns clinched. So we're going to be sitting starters. How many starters are we sitting? Is there a limit? Somebody was asking me about that today, which I wasn't sure. Is there a limit on the amount of starters that you can sit? Do they have to play part of the game?
It's just there's a roster number. You can only still have 53.
Okay.
So you can. I mean, they can use. Walker just went on IR, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, sure.
So there's another spot that you can use, but. You're not going to see Miles. You're not going to see Joe. You're not going to see Amari. You're not going to see Elijah. You're not going to see David Njoku.
Delpit, who we're going to expect to be back.
Yeah, who should be back against probably Jacksonville.
JOK.
We'll JOK's out. But, a lot of these guys will – Flacco won't be suited up.
Okay.
PJ Walker, I mean, he'll probably be your emergency guy.
Yeah, Jeff Driscoll, which we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
People are asking me today, too, or during this week, like, okay, who's Jeff Driscoll? Well, he's a journeyman. You may have remembered him being on Detroit for a while. I think, was he on the Bengals too? I mean, he's been around the league.
Yeah, so he will be the first quarterback in the Battle of Ohio to start for both teams. which is insane. It's been around since 1970.
Right? Does he get a fucking plaque for that?
Probably.
Yeah. Does he get like pastrami on rye plus a fucking bowl of chili to dip it in? I'm just asking. So Driscoll, here's how I kind of look at it. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think Driscoll, you went ahead and signed him. I feel as if it might be a backup tryout possibly for camp next year.
Well, not even camp next year. I honestly think that Stefanski's probably over PJ Walker, the turnover machine.
Can't figure out why on that.
Well, I
fucking
think
rip
his,
PJ Walker, but
yeah, and thanks for doing what you did.
Yeah,
you won 2 games. Yeah. Also lost his 2 games.
Thank you.
But yeah, they want to see what he's got, and if you go down to your 5th quarterback, you're not going to have the best of options. But they want to see the guy. Apparently, is a pretty decent athlete, strong arm. He has a positive touchdown and interception ratio in the league. So that's probably
immediately why we're not starting PJ Walker, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, and they know who PJ is. They want to see what this guy's about. I know he's only been here for a week or 2, but when he was in Cincy, his quarterback coach and offensive coordinator was Alex Van Pelt. So the offense is probably fairly similar.
That makes sense. Yeah. I didn't know that actually.
Yeah.
So okay. So we're going to find out what he has in store. Obviously, if Driscoll would happen to get injured in this game, then or who we bringing in? Like maybe
it'd be PJ.
PJ. Okay. All right.
He's still the backup, but again, PJ is probably going to be like your emergency guy in the playoffs. Because you're going to be able to carry 3 quarterbacks. I would. Unless Driscoll was out there and absolutely stinks up the joint, which he's not going to have a lot of guys out there. But I also don't think Cincinnati's going to be playing every starter either.
And are they starting? What's their list? My feeling is, Browning. Say what you want about him. I don't think they should start Browning. I don't know if they are. I don't know who their next guy up is.
They're probably going to start Browning.
Okay, all right.
And there's probably some guys that have some incentives that they want to hit that they'll probably play. I would be surprised to see Jamar Chase or not to see Jamar Chase. I haven't seen anything definitive from Cincinnati on who's playing and who's not. They're kind of slow playing it like Kevin is. Well, and it's hard. What are you going to go down each and every roster spot? Even some of the guys that aren't starting, if somebody gets hurt, they're going to have to go in and play.
Right.
And that's I think, in the future, maybe the NFLPA, week 18, you should be able to bring up 65 guys.
Right.
So you have if you want to rest
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Because you can do that in Major League Baseball. NBA, who gives a shit? They fucking sit guys all year.
Right.
But
like maybe get the roster availability, at least get it to like where it would be in preseason.
Yeah, like the last week of preseason. I think it's 70.
Yeah.
So
that's not a bad
not?
idea.
No.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Of course, we talked about,
or at least you have 15 guys on. Up to 15, I think, or 12 on practice squad. At least be able to bring all of them up.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Of course, we talked about why Cincinnati's not in it. The Browns sitting starters, obviously. We've locked up the 5 spot with Baltimore, which we'll get into that, which with Baltimore winning last week, it basically kept us from a remote chance of winning the division.
Baltimore murdering last week.
Yeah, murdering fucking Big Daniels and Jesus. Just we'll get into some of that, but
Dalton T is definitely going to have 7 targets.
Who?
T. Higgins.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, hopefully he does because he's probably going to be in Cleveland next year.
Perfect. I'd love to see it. Wide receiver wise, though, who they think we're going to put out?
Well,
there?
You're not going to see.
Tillman, you think Tillman's going to play? I'm sure he'll be playing.
Tillman will be out there. Bell will be out there. They'll probably call up Austin Watkins.
Okay.
I think Coop Moore's out. I don't think you'll see the speedster, the older Godwin. Or Goodwin.
Yeah, Goodwin. Goodwin. Sorry. He had like one catch all fucking year. That long fucking bomb there a couple weeks back. From Flacco,
which is just having on the field, he gives you that extra threat.
Sure,
but
veteran presence.
Yeah, he's 33. He's not going to be out there,
right?
And they have 4 or 5 wide receivers, and you might, like I said, I think Watkins will probably get called up, but you'll probably have Goodwin will probably dress. I know Amari's not dressing, and I don't think
Chief probably is out too.
Yeah, Chief.
He's gonna be so.
But he might
maybe?
He might dress just because it's Akins and Bryant on the
Bryant,
roster,
yeah.
so they only have 2.
Okay.
I would think most of these guys dress. I don't because again, you can only have so many guys up there.
Right.
I don't think Miles will probably be with a baseball hat on.
Yeah.
They're not gonna let him go out there, which is
definitely
why.
We're not gonna. Stefanski much wiser than Mike McDaniels, and I don't know if he was. Well, I mean, if you want to get into that right now, let's just do it. I mean, the Baltimore game last week and the Dolphins. I know Lamar had 5 touchdowns. You came over, we watched the game. Or no, we didn't watch that game together, but we were just kind of texting back and forth. Once again, I'm not the big Lamar guy. We're going to find out, though, because when Lamar fucking fails in the playoffs, which I look for that to happen, although I would love to see Flacco, go to Baltimore for an AFC championship game. So secretly, I might be rooting for the Ravens.
Things will have to happen for us to not go to Baltimore for the divisional round.
Right.
Which I don't think are far-fetched.
Okay.
2 or 3 seed has to lose. And
okay.
Kansas City isn't scare anybody, I don't think.
Yeah. But so Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens just putting an ass whooping on Mike McDaniels and the Dolphins last week. Actually, you know what? Just go ahead and bring up the Dolphins crying Jordan if you got it handy, because I mean this one is an all-timer. We're just gonna get out of order here on the crying Jordans, but this one is just absolute gold.
I fucking lost it when you send me this.
Yeah, this one's I couldn't believe you'd never see it. So I don't know, getting down to it, I mean, late in the game, Dolphins were still down by like 20, I think. They decided to go ahead and leave Mike McDaniels. I don't know who made this call, decided to go ahead and leave Bradley Chubb, who was, if everybody remembers, was the pick by Denver the year that Baker got drafted. I think he was drafted 4th or 5th. No, well, Denzel was 4. He was 5. I think Chubb was 5. So they make that trade with Denver. They go ahead and get Bradley Chubb. Your starting defensive end, your stud, and he has an ACL tear out for the year.
It was like the first year that he was like semi-healthy too.
Yeah. So he goes out. So the Dolphins have already secured a playoff spot. Regardless of what happens this week with the Bills, obviously the Dolphins want to win the division, and of course, and the Bills too. But I just do not understand why Chubb was still in the game. I don't understand. So
not at that point.
No. For that reason, they get the fucking crying dolphin, if you will. I mean, just horrible. I don't know if he was in the blue tent, hitting his vape pen. There was all that chatter last year about him hitting his vape pen on the sideline. Don't know what he's doing. I wanted to go ahead and give him an extra aeration fan in that blue tent, so when he's hitting the Chiba. Mm-hmm. He doesn't decide to do dumb shit like that again. So, I mean, definitely could really cost the Dolphins.
I don't know who Vic Fangio is their defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. I've never seen a worse game plan for the Ravens.
Well, former Denver head coach, right? Yeah. Didn't last very long.
No.
I mean, lasted longer than McDaniels, I think.
Well, yeah, and it lasted longer than the guy last year. Hackett.
Yeah, Hackett. Yeah. I call him Tackett.
Well, he got let go right before Hackett.
Right.
Yeah, he didn't get to let Russ cook.
Speaking of Russ cooking, I hope that Russ went ahead and got some MREs from Sam's Club and the Walton family because he's going to need them. I don't know what their plan is. We talked about this last week. I have no idea what Denver's plan is, except for...
I don't understand how you bring him back. If you do, how is Sean Payton still going to be there?
Well, what kind of dead cap money is that going to be for them, too?
Well, I mean, it's either $89 million next year or you space it out for 2 years.
Right.
So, either way, they're not in very good cap position as it is.
No. And draft picks.
Yeah, because 3 for him and then 1 for their
for Sean Payton.
For their coach. and Noah Fant, who's been balling in Seattle.
Well, not to mention, the backup quarterback there who beat the Eagles. Not
Drew Lock.
Yeah, Drew Lock. Yeah. Not that everybody isn't beating the Eagles right now.
Right.
I mean, the fucking Eagles just an absolute shambles heading into the playoffs. Hopefully the playoffs.
They're 10-1 at one point. Now they're 11-5.
Yeah, they've lost like 4 straight, I think. Just absolute shit show there for the Eagles. But hey, we'll get into that. All right, we want to go ahead and get into. Of course, we said the Browns have locked in at the 5. What's the scenarios? What do we want to happen? I think we should do this. Let's go ahead and bring up the graphic of the current after January 3rd. This is the current AFC playoff pick or AFC pick. Well, total NFL playoff picture, but we also have a graphic for the AFC scenario as well, courtesy of Sports Betting Online. Thank you. Follow us on Twitter, Sports Betting Online, please. By the way, we are streaming on Twitter tonight, too. If you want to get over there and help us out as well, we would appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So, what do you want to start with? What do we want to happen, or what do we think is going to happen?
Well, as badly as Jacksonville has played in the last month, I really don't see them losing to Tennessee.
Is that at Tennessee too?
Yeah, it's at Tennessee.
Okay.
But they're a better road team anyway.
Okay.
And honestly, out of those teams, out of Houston, Indy, and Jacksonville, that's the team I would rather play.
Yeah, I would too. And I made this argument, not to cut you off, but if Jacksonville wins, they win the division.
Yep.
Okay, so they beat Tennessee, they win the division. But Houston travels to Indy this week. That game is the winner of that game is guaranteed a wild card spot unless Jacksonville will lose to Tennessee.
Yep, then whoever wins that game
will win the division.
Yep.
Now, what I don't know is that does that mean that will Jacksonville or the loser of that game also get a wild card spot, or is that the scenario that Pittsburgh could get in?
So this is what Pittsburgh would need. It doesn't really matter what happens in that game for them. If the Bills do not beat the Dolphins,
okay, that's
they're
at Miami.
They get the 7th seed,
isn't it?
Yeah,
because the Dolphins came up, they got just dog walked in Buffalo earlier in the season.
Yeah, it's in Miami.
Okay, all right.
So basically, what Pittsburgh they need to win, and they need the Bills to lose because they have a tiebreaker.
Okay.
So Jacksonville, I think, would need Pittsburgh to lose. If they lose, to get the 7th seed.
Okay. Do you still get a wild card spot?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And it's funny because Buffalo, if they win, they're the 2 seed. If they lose, they're probably going to be out of the playoffs.
Which is absolutely – I don't know if that's ever happened, has it? Not that I can remember. That you can go from the 2 out of 7 to not make the playoffs?
The 7 seeds, it's only been around for 3 years.
That's true. No,
but
true.
even when
even
six,
six.
Yeah, even
right.
with 6 seeds, I don't think that's ever happened.
So –
but I don't know. There's been – it's just because they're so clumped up. There's Baltimore has 13 wins. Everybody else is around 11.
Of course, Buffalo really hot right now. Miami kind of on the downer.
But they get to play at home.
And they get to play at home. The whole South Beach flu phenomenon, whatever you want to call it. Tom Brady always had a hard time playing in Miami.
Yeah.
Actually. So that game's going to be huge. I don't know if there is a bigger week 17 or 18, although it's new, because we've been expanded. But even if you went back to week 17 under the old 16 game format, I don't know if there's been a bigger playoff push. There's a few games that don't mean shit, and then there's a whole bunch of games that mean a lot.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, and that happened when we had 16 games.
Okay.
But because people clinch, people don't. But now you have another. You're automatically have at least one more game that's going to mean more something
right
because of that. You know what I mean?
So what do we think is going to happen? Do you think Jackson? The first thing is, do you think that is Sunshine playing? Trevor Lawrence? I mean, he has to play, right? He's gonna have to play going to Tennessee.
Is he still banged up? Yeah, he didn't play last week, right?
No, he didn't. I mean, it was C.J. Beathard.
I mean, I think they could probably still win without him, but if you got any balls on you, wouldn't you be in there?
Yeah. I mean, I think I haven't looked at if they've even made a decision on that. Of course, they win the division.
Right. That's all they need to do is win.
So then that will put Jacksonville at the 4, which is who we would face. Mm-hmm. If Jacksonville loses, then
it's the
winner of Indy or Houston, who would also go into the 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Out of those teams, so here's what I think is going to happen. I think if Lawrence starts, Jacksonville's winning that game. Although I'm not putting it out of the realm for Vrabel
I'm not either.
And whether they start dickhead there from Kentucky, Will Levis, or not. They still have Derrick Henry and that Jacksonville porous defense. I just think it could be. I'm not putting it out of the realm whether.
Well, they have a good run defense.
Jacksonville, yeah. Okay, that's true. I didn't think about that.
They're playing for more than Tennessee is.
I also heard this too, that Christian Kirk has been practicing this week. So
that's his favorite target.
That's huge for Jacksonville. That's huge. If he does suit up, and I think if he has been elevated, so I think I have to put the edge with Jacksonville. Although I wouldn't be shocked if Tennessee plays a spoiler and that happens there.
I wouldn't either. I mean, that's a big game to watch this weekend. If you're a Browns fan, really not a whole lot going on unless you got something in your parlay with the Browns game.
Right. So if we go back and let's say that they had Christian Kirk at the time that we played them, and they're going to be full strength going in. Do you want to play Jacksonville at Jacksonville over the other two, over Houston or Indy?
You know, the thing with Houston to me is I really respect what C.J. Stroud has done.
Absolutely.
But their defense is not that good. Mm-mm. They're banged up. Mm-hmm. Flacco already torched the hell out of them.
Right.
And to go in there in the dome, that's exactly what they're going to get again. And I think our running game's starting to pick back up. I'm not afraid of anyone. In all honesty, I think Indy would be the team I don't want to play.
That is exactly the team I don't want to play. Yeah. And it's
just because that they've been in these types of games. That's a franchise that just I don't want to be there in the first round.
It's real simple to me. Even simpler than that. Out of those 3 teams, Indy has the best defense.
Yes.
And I don't think it's close.
I don't think it's close.
I just don't think it's close.
No, because Flacco's going to torch Jacksonville.
Yeah.
He did it in a not very great weather game.
And we're gonna run it up on Houston too. Yeah. Now with Houston it's gonna make a difference whether we're gonna be able to contain Stroud. Tank Dell is still out.
Our front.
Yeah.
Our front and our secondary is getting healthier. Yeah, we lost AWOC, which I've talked about it. I'd like him to be there to be that run stopper in the middle, which I think we can mask. But I just don't see that offense being that prolific against us. It would have to be a very bad day for our front, and I just don't see that happening.
Right.
I just don't see us losing in the first round, regardless of who we play.
So I think I think we're going to face Jacksonville. And I'm with you on that too. I don't have a problem with that. If Jacksonville were to lose, obviously I'm going to pull for Houston, who has to play on the road at Indy. Gardner Minshew's the quarterback. I get that. It's the defense that I'm worried about. It's that Indy defense that I'm more worried about.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely have the best defense in that division.
Okay, going on to another scenario. Let's talk about, of course, the Ravens have it locked up at the 1. The other big game is also the Bills going to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
So that's going to be for the division.
And I this is only if Baltimore beats Pittsburgh. I want Buffalo to lose.
Okay.
So that they're still in at the 6th seed.
Okay.
Because if that happens, they play Kansas City, and I think they go to Kansas City and win.
And that would be at Arrowhead again, which just about 3 weeks ago, Buffalo beat them.
But if they do lose, and say Pittsburgh gets that spot, which I don't think they will because I think they'll end up going in the 7th seed. I could see Pittsburgh going in there and winning on their defense in Kansas City.
Fuck. Yeah.
Because if that happens, we would have Pittsburgh at home for a playoff game.
That would be so good.
Oh,
so good.
And then, more than likely, unless Baltimore does what they do in the playoffs with Lamar and lose the first round, we would have
any chance that Baltimore plays anybody to try to keep Pittsburgh from attaining.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, because they're
also
not scared of them. But
well, and also there's a thing, dude. They're going to be off that next week, so you really want to have 2 weeks off?
Yeah.
At least play the first half.
Well,
but at the same time, could Tyler Huntley go in there and win?
Right.
Probably.
True.
I just don't know defensively what kind of depth they have.
Well, and the other thing is too, just like in our scenario, if Baltimore's sitting starters, Zay Flowers isn't going to play.
Right.
Odell probably won't play.
Well, I did see Odell's not playing.
Right. And I would assume Zay Flowers is probably not playing.
think.
Rashad Bateman, maybe playing.
Maybe.
For them.
So he can drop some more touchdown passes.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Well, I mean, if Lamar put it on the fucking spot, maybe he could catch some more. Isaiah Likely, probably not playing just for the simple fact that, they lost that other big-ass fucking dickhead earlier in the season. I don't know. What the hell's the Mark Andrews?
Yeah, he's out.
So, he's out for the season. But what I'm saying is Isaiah Likely may not play.
Well, he would probably play just because I
so?
don't think they have depth there at tight end.
Right.
Dalton said that Njoku gets $88,000 for every game played, and he gets $1 million for 10 touchdowns. I think I seen somewhere where he's not starting.
Okay.
I mean, why would you start your Pro Bowl tight end in a meaningless game?
He's
getting paid buku money as it is.
On a betting note too, that's some other things that I know there's incentives. Dalton, thank you. I know there's some deep incentives for a few of these players if you want to go ahead and bet some player props this weekend. I saw this. I think Tyreek Hill, which it's unattainable.
He needs
234 yards to hit it. And he might need it now that his fucking house caught on fire. I don't know.
Because I wouldn't pay that house insurance down there in Florida either.
Yeah. I mean, my question is like, which baby mama lit it on fire when he was at practice? We don't know that. A whole throwback to Lisa Lopez Left Eye from TLC burning up Andre Rison's home. I mean, Tyreek just suffering the same shit. I know he's a big one. On Houston, I think I saw that Dalton Schultz needs 2 or 3 more catches to hit.
Houston?
Yeah, in Houston.
I didn't know he was there.
Schultz went to Houston. Well, he was on my fucking fantasy team. He's like hot and cold. The only reason I probably knew that. But yeah, he needs 2 or 3 more catches to hit something on his contract. Singletary needs so many yards to hit on his. And there's a couple other ones too. Njoku, though, I didn't know about that.
I didn't either.
But
I figured he would have hit everything that he was supposed
to. Well, yeah, who knows? The other thing, too, that people were talking about, too, I guess there's like some incentive-based stuff with Joe Flacco. If he reaches so many wins, of course, we kind of knew that going into it. So if Flacco doesn't play, which he's not going to play.
No, he's not going to play. There's no sense in playing.
And Flacco doesn't care about that. I mean, he's got big money. He doesn't care. He's not in it for the money.
He's in it for the ride at this point.
He's in it for the fucking legacy of Joe Flacco because
if he gets another ring,
he's in the Hall of Fame, right?
Well,
we're in agreement.
So if he gets another ring, gets another Super Bowl MVP, how does he not go in the Hall of Fame?
I don't even know if you need MVP.
Right, but did Eli get MVP in both of those?
I can't remember if Eli did or not.
I'm pretty sure he did.
He might have. It wasn't.
I mean, that'll help your case.
Yeah. I
don't think if you have 2 Super Bowls, especially at quarterback, and 2 Super Bowl MVPs, and I mean, it's not like he's had a up and down career. That's for sure.
Right.
But there was a 4 to 5 year window where he was a top 5, top 10 quarterback.
Right. Yeah, and I think it also going back to that, although I could make the argument. Who was the last Super Bowl? Who was Edelman that won a wide receiver MVP for the Super Bowl? Was that the last one?
I don't think. Did Edelman win one?
I thought Edelman won. I thought he won that one with Brady, like
Against
one of the
Atlanta?
last one. Yeah, I thought Julian Edelman won that one.
He could have.
So, but still, I mean, generally it goes to a quarterback. It's kind of like, MVP of the league.
Right.
Although it's, I'm not saying it's fair, but that's normally the way, the voters are tilted, and
Well, they handle the ball every play.
fuck Lamar Jackson again. So, whatever. But, and I know everybody's going to talk about that, Lamar Jackson. Oh, he just won the MVP last year. And if you watch that game and argue, Ryan and I were kind of arguing about that back and forth a little bit. But really, there was I don't know if there was a throw there that Baker Mayfield couldn't have thrown. I know, Ryan. I know you're rolling your eyes.
Go watch the Minnesota game in 21.
Okay, all right. But most of those were wide open throws. They were wide open passes, broken coverages.
Stride, though.
Okay, all right. I mean, I can hit Zay Flowers. I think I could hit Zay Flowers if he had 20 yards around him for 5 yards.
Okay, but if they're deep passes, if they're 35 plus yards down the field, they don't have to break stride. You can throw the football.
Okay. But we're still in agreement.
But it was wide open. That's what.
But the fucking Dolphins were.
Yeah, they gave him everything.
Yeah, it was.
I'm not saying that they didn't, but he made the throws he had. He only missed 3 passes.
I guess what I'm saying is, the voters for MVP are just going to see the 5 touchdowns.
Well,
he's got it fucking locked up.
Well, with that, and they're 13-4 or 13-3.
Okay, I get that. And he's played. He actually played a full season.
Right.
Okay. All right.
First time in 3 years now.
Right.
Well, and who else are you going to give it to?
I still am on the stump for
McCaffrey?
Josh Allen. If Josh Allen goes this week and he rips that fucking Miami defense and they win that fucking game in Miami, he's my MVP.
Well, how does Myles Garrett not get votes?
Okay, he's not going to win.
best.
Yeah, but he's not going to win MVP.
LT won it.
No, okay, that's fine. But in this day and age, you're not with the passing.
But
he's not going to win.
This has been a
it.
defensive year.
Okay.
I mean,
right.
the offense has really dialed it back.
I'm not saying I wouldn't cry about it if he didn't win it.
I'm just saying, if you're actually looking at the MVP in that way, we're just talking about like it has to be a quarterback award. I don't think it needs to be a quarterback award, especially in a year where like Josh Allen's turned the ball over like a bitch. Like they're 10-6.
I agree.
They're 10-6 because of him. They should be 12-4 or 11-5.
All right.
But I mean, obviously they've gotten hot. He's gotten hot. But did you watch the game against New England?
I know it was bad. I agree.
And then Lamar throws for 5 touchdown passes.
I know, but what I'm saying is, if you flip the script, and obviously Lamar's not going to play this.
And
week,
after they just beat the hell out of San Fran too.
They did.
They have all the narrative.
But once again, I'm going to go back to that, and I'm going to say Baltimore's defense really kind of won that game for them. They did. You and I both agreed.
Well, we watched that game together.
Right. And I'm going to throw this back at you, too. If you talk about that, then I'm going to say, well, nobody gave a fuck about Brett Favre throwing, 35 fucking 40 picks.
Well, that was also a different time in the league.
Okay. Yeah, but, so was Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, but
I mean, you're not going to.
But he was also throwing for 4,500 yards and 35 touchdowns, and they were winning a bunch of games.
Right.
But the thing with Josh Allen to me is Lamar has the better stats. On a better team.
So, you're saying they're a better team because of the record.
Better team because of the record, and he has way better stats.
I mean, the Bills' defense was definitely not playing Bills' defense early in the season.
Right.
Now they've gotten a little more healthy every week. Okay, Lamar's defense is really, really good. Mm-hmm. We know that. I'm going to give it. I fucking hate it. Roquan Smith's an animal.
Right.
Patrick Queen's a fucking animal. Jadeveon Clowney finally shows up. Fuck that guy. Odell catching fucking 1 touchdown fucking pass or damn near one every game.
Right.
Okay, that's fine. And don't give me this bullshit about Lamar doesn't have weapons.
Well, he does this year.
Zay Flowers is a fucking weapon, man. We were talking about him last year.
Well, even Odell is a third option or second option.
Oh, man.
Better than a lot of teams.
And here's my thing, too. That was a great pass to Odell that was down inside the 5-yard line. Or, not to Odell.
In the corner.
Yes, there? Okay. But I don't think that is being caught if it wasn't Odell.
Yeah, there's not a lot of
There's not a lot of players.
Him, George Pickens.
With his size,
Coop.
even.
Yeah.
I mean, with Odell's size, it's not catching that ball. So shout
he's
out
still
to Odell.
A hell of an athlete for as many injuries.
I mean,
as
if the
he's
guy
had.
gets 3 targets a game, but I mean, he's catching shit like that. Yeah.
No, he's basically. I won't even say Marquise Goodwin because he's not like a spectacular catch kind of guy.
Right.
But he's this guy that you can throw it deep and he's going to go make it. Like, he's a 5'11" wide receiver that plays like he's 6'3".
Right.
And he has good hands. And, yeah, I mean,
and
he's
acrobatic
got,
catches.
he's got weapons. And even with Mark Andrews out, I think Isaiah Likely is kind of like David Njoku.
Right.
Kind of, not to that.
And I'm going to give you that one to Likely. That's my only one last week, although you and I kind of argued about it at the time. The defender was kind of falling down on Likely.
Well, Lamar was getting hit while he threw it.
Yes, and he threw it out there Likely. One-handed it, and I'm like, fuck, he fucking one-handed it.
So, and I'm still in agreement with you that Lamar, there are times where when he throws the ball, it's a duck, it's not accurate.
Right.
But there's also times when he's fucking on, and it's literally Michael Vick.
Okay. All right.
He does not have the arm
I'm
strength.
a Michael. I really like Michael Vick.
Well, I love Michael Vick.
love Michael
Does
Vick.
not have the arm strength, and I still think Vick was a better athlete.
Yeah.
He played in a different... You could hit quarterbacks back then.
Yes.
There's different rules.
Great point.
I think Michael Vick...
I watched Michael Vick at Virginia Tech, and I'm like, what?
I would take Michael Vick over Lamar Jackson. Like, if Michael Vick could have been drafted in 2015, holy shit.
Right. He may not have, ran like a dogfighting syndicate.
Right.
Right. That's fine.
Fucking 2 years in prison for that.
Right. Comes back, gets on the Eagles.
Nobody gives a shit.
Fucking lights the shit up. All right, let's get back. We're getting off on this shit. We're going to agree to disagree, or I'm just going to say fuck you, Ryan, about Lamar Jackson. So that's fine. We're going to find out what happens in the playoffs.
Well, Lamar Jackson or Baker Mayfield 2018. Go.
Okay. Jesus. That's true. I'm going to have to defer and go Sam Darnold.
Jesus. You imagine having Lamar Jackson and Nick Chubb in the same backfield?
Oh, my God.
With that offensive line that they had?
All right. Yep. That's true. All right. Let's get back to the scenarios. What we think's going to happen. Bills at Miami. What do you want to happen first?
I said, what I want to happen is Miami to win, but...
Really?
Just because...
Okay.
Pittsburgh
that
wins,
makes sense.
If Pittsburgh wins, fuck them. We'll go ahead and have Buffalo win. Only because I have more faith in Buffalo going on the road to Kansas City and winning.
So you want Miami to beat Buffalo, so Buffalo has to go to Kansas City to win?
Yeah.
Okay. I agree with that. Actually, I agree with that.
Because then Buffalo has to go to Baltimore, and then we get a home play.
So Miami's not going... Well, they wouldn't go to Kansas City anyway, right? Not until the following round. If they win the division, Miami.
Yeah, well, okay, so... All right, so... Say Pittsburgh loses, right? And then Buffalo loses to Miami. Buffalo's going to have the 6th seed. If Jacksonville wins, they're going to have that 4 seed. And then whoever wins that game between Indy and
Houston.
Indy and Houston has a 7th seed.
Okay.
So, I think Buffalo will go into Kansas City. Boom. There's the 3 seed out. And then the 7th seed, hopefully it's Indy has to go to Miami.
Okay. All right.
I could see Indy winning that. I could see Houston winning that game at this point.
Right now,
with that defense.
I hate
Miami's defense.
I hate the fact that it's actually at Miami, which Miami plays really good at home.
If anybody's going to put up points with them, it's going to be CJ.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But,
I mean, Gardner.
But if it's Indy, if Indy goes there, then I could see their defense kind of slowing them down.
I mean, the South Beach flu is hitting Gardner Minshew in stride, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's Jimmy Buffett that shit down there with a fucking Hawaiian shirt on.
But we're talking about what we want, right?
Right. No, that's right.
So if those things happen, then second round of the playoffs, we have a home playoff game against Indy or not. We'd have it against Buffalo.
Okay.
And then
right,
that team would Indy or Houston or whoever would go to Baltimore.
Okay. So tell me also. So this is what you want to happen.
Yes.
Okay. And I kind of agree with this.
And because Buffalo going to Baltimore, I could see Buffalo winning that game.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that I wouldn't want to beat Baltimore in the playoffs.
Right.
But even if they, because I'm thinking Super Bowl, I don't really give a fuck about.
No, I agree.
So,
but I still kind of want that home playoff game.
Exactly. So you're going to get a home playoff game in the divisional round.
Right.
Buffalo goes there and wins, and we win. Then we get another home playoff game.
Nice.
That's
Isn't
my
that
wish.
called the AFC Championship, I think?
Yes, AFC title game. Yep.
Okay, I
Mark
love
Hunt.
it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Have it at home.
Love
Have
it.
2 home playoff games
Love
in that
it.
stadium. Our defense is awesome, but it's even better at home.
Even if we didn't go and, go to the game, which I'm not saying there's a scenario that we wouldn't go to the game.
Well, if there's 2
we
in a row,
just
I
have to
couldn't
fucking
financially-
go up there.
Yeah.
No, we should just go
we'd
up
be in
there and
the-
fucking party.
Oh, yeah, I'd be in the...
It'd be so good.
Yeah, I have vacation. I'm taking the next 3 days off, probably.
Yeah, I'm going to take some personal days, whatever the hell I
But
gotta
hell yeah,
do.
we go up there in the pit or the Muni Lot.
Oh, God. The Pit is just an all-time. I love that place. I love it. I just do. I love that. I love the fact
you can see the
stadium's
stadium
right there. It's got a great backdrop.
Right.
The fucking trains coming through there, drowning out any of the other dipshits that you have to fucking hear while you're there.
Well, and it's usually mostly Browns fans down there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I'm not saying that the Muni Lot isn't, but it's just so fucking huge that.
Of course, if you did have to play Buffalo, they're going to make that 4.5, 5 hour trek down.
Yeah.
Which. This is great because I'm thinking about a scenario where, the Astro vans show up with the folding tables coming out of the back. Just an onslaught like the Royal Rumble going down the fucking pit down there. Don't fucking come to Cleveland, on Southern Lake Erie here, according to where you're at. And
I could
throw your
not.
shit around.
Well, and
I
just don't see a lot of non-Browns fans in that stadium with the playoff game. Because we didn't see a whole lot of fucking Jets fans there.
No.
I don't even think was there any that we seen in the. I think there was maybe 4 or 5 rows up behind us. There's a couple Jets fans. Maybe. But yeah, it was mostly.
I just think it's a different scenario when you're talking about the Bills Mafia.
Well, yeah, but they have to get tickets somewhere.
You're right.
And Browns.
Fuck any Browns fans that decide to sell their tickets to the
Right,
Bills if
right.
they would have
To
made
anyone.
it that far. Right.
But yeah, I'd be there. Now 2 in a row. Whew.
Right.
I'd have to open up another credit card in somebody else's name.
All right, so we're in agreement. Go Bills, right? Well, go Dolphins, then go Bills.
Well, yes. Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
That's the short
And
of it.
go Ravens this week.
Go Ravens. Yes.
Yeah.
Unless you would want to face Pittsburgh
Which
at a home playoff game.
that wouldn't be bad either.
Right.
But the thing is I'd put my money on Buffalo going to Baltimore and winning. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Over Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah.
I don't see them beating them twice this year. There's no fucking way.
Right.
There's no way.
But we say that, but
you never fucking know. It is Pittsburgh. They'll luck out somehow.
All right. So, what do we actually think is going to happen then? So I think Jacksonville's going to win. I think Houston going to Indy. God, flip a coin. God, I got to give the edge, and I love Stroud this week. I love him this year. I got to give it to Indy just because that defense.
The defense and
playing at home.
Minshew's been playing pretty well.
That's
Shane Steichen's done a hell of a job there.
Yeah, I got to give it to the stash.
Yeah, I mean if
they win the division, and I talked about this last week. State and Steichen could be in the running for.
Well, if we haven't had to go through all that we've had through injury wise,
Stefanski should be right. I mean, he's there.
Well, he's the betting favorite now.
With the 4 quarterbacks, right?
5 now.
Yeah, with Driscoll. Yeah, that's true.
Well, and if we win 12 games, that'll be. I really do hope we win.
I do too. So
it doesn't fucking matter, but
yeah, but it would be great to see.
And you have a 4-2 record in the division.
Yeah. It'd be great to see that, as we're watching the game, to see the Browns at Jacksonville or at Indy with a 12-win record. Yeah. That would be fantastic.
12-5.
Just to see it on the screen.
12-5 looks a lot better.
It looks
11-6.
fucking great.
Yeah.
And just think about if we didn't.
1986, the last time we won 12 games in regular season.
Right. And just think about of all the shit we went through. Where could we have been if we didn't have to go through all these fucking quarterbacks?
Imagine if we just had Nick Chubb through all of this.
Oh my God. I mean, is he worth?
Fuck you, Minka Fitzpatrick.
Right? Is he worth a game? I mean,
It
Chubb
has
worth
to
a
be.
game, right?
It has to be worth a game.
So we're still in the running. So you know what would be awesome about that is the fact that Baltimore might still have to play their starters this week for the division.
Yeah.
Like if we had Chubb in there, we're still only a game back.
I'll tell you which games it really would have mattered. The Seattle game.
Yep.
Basically, any game P.J. Walker had to touch the ball. The San Fran game.
Yeah.
We actually ran the ball pretty decently in that game.
I don't think, although I've been touting Indy's defense, I don't think that game would have been as close.
Oh, no.
I mean,
no, but Chubb always has one or two games of the year where it's like, fuck, he had like 12 or 13 carries for 29 yards.
Right.
That might be one of them.
Okay.
Just because our offensive line's been so banged up, but I also think that he covers a lot of that up. Yeah, I mean, I really think that Seattle game, that would have been one. But even when we had to start DTR, I mean, if he had the ability to just hand it off to him,
yeah,
that would have, because we still had, Big DeJuan Jones on the right side. And
right.
I think Wills was still playing in that game, wasn't he?
Yes.
So
yes,
you would think that the offensive line would have been good enough to, we would have had 130, 140 yards on the ground that day.
I do also like this. I like the fact that, we've been talking about Flacco learning a little bit more of the playbook every week. Flacco sits out another week.
Yep.
And this, maybe
his prep's going to be this week is for Jacksonville or
I would think
Houston or one of them.
I mean, as soon as
the good thing is he's played Houston and Jacksonville.
Yes.
So those are probably the more likely scenarios.
So there's two games this Saturday. One of them is Houston. I think the NFL is always super smart about how they do this because, they want to go into that game with Jacksonville on Sunday saying, hey, if Jacksonville loses this game, either the winner of this Saturday game, Houston, Indy, they're going to pump it up that way.
Oh, so they're playing on Saturday.
They're playing on Saturday,
and then Jacksonville.
I think
plays on
I
Sunday?
saw that Jacksonville plays Sunday, I believe. Let me look that up real quick.
Well, that'll be good because then both teams are going to be playing. I mean, they would still both be for the wild card spot, but
right. Let me look at. I got to get on ESPN just to make sure I check this. Oh, I hear a turkey. That's awesome. Let me get on ESPN here real quick. I think that is the scenario, if I looked at that correctly, that Jacksonville, let's see here. We're going to go NFL. Okay, yeah. So the Steelers are at the Ravens. Shit game. That was at 4:30. Then it's Texans at the Colts at the prime time. That's 8:15. That's the one I couldn't believe. Okay, and then on Sunday, so I'm really surprised they didn't flex that game. And they could, right? Could they still flex that game out of the 1 o'clock, the Jags at Titans?
I don't think so. I think that's already locked.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So,
which I don't know. I think there's different rules for Week 18, but I think it's too late for them to do it now.
Okay. All right.
I think you have to do that by like the week prior.
Okay. So yeah, that's really good. Right now, Houston's favored at Indy minus 1.5 points. So I mean, that's whew. I mean, that's
with CJ. They got a shot.
Tough one.
They got a chance against anyone.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Colts. I really kind of. Hell, I love the Colts plus 1.5 there. I love the Colts money line there, which you're going to get better money on that. So, not to take, like I said, not to take anything away from Stroud, but man, I mean, Houston.
Their defense is just so banged up.
Why is that line not even at least? I don't understand why it's just not pick 'em at the Texans at Colts. Yeah,
I would still home team. I'd give them the advantage in that one.
That's what I'm saying though. But Houston's favored by 1.5 on the road.
They must know something.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, but that's definitely the scenario there. Going back, what's the other thing we had that we? What else is on? We didn't really cover any of the NFC side of it.
No, but fuck them.
Right. Fuck them.
I mean, what I kind of want to happen is to see Baker shit the bed again 2 weeks in a row.
Perfect.
And lose to Carolina. Mm-hmm. And then you have the winner of the Saints and Falcons game win that division.
More people at the Carolina game this week or 2 weeks ago when Atlanta came to town. And the whole 45-cent ticket, which I heard that was kind of a ruse. They actually were more than that, but not much more.
Right.
And then with fees, of course, I made the joke that it was probably still $100 a ticket.
Well, there's probably Baker homers that'll show up there.
It's gonna that's gonna be great though. Really, when you think about it, because you got Baker Mayfield coming back to Carolina. Carolina trading him away to the Rams last year, right? So I mean, we just want, regardless of your shit ass owner, David Tepper, which we're gonna talk about him in the CJ segment, but I mean that's a great scenario. I think it'd be really good because then it's Atlanta and New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
So those two play this weekend. If somehow Tampa loses that game,
winner of that game. I think it's the winner of that game, but I know for a fact if they lose and New Orleans wins, they're in. But I think because that's another divisional loss for Tampa, I think both of them have a shot.
Okay.
So whoever would win that game would
because they're are all three teams 8-8, or maybe Carolina is Atlanta 7-9.
Atlanta 7-9, but I think they beat Tampa. And they beat New Orleans
because once. The division.
Yeah.
Okay.
But New Orleans is 8-8, but I think Tampa has a better divisional record.
Okay.
Because anytime I ever bet on New Orleans, they fucked me.
Right. I mean, I didn't think in the beginning of the season we talked about, who we thought was going to come out of some of the divisions. I really thought Derek Carr was going to have a better year. I know he had that nagging shoulder injury for a lot of the season. Right. I'm not willing to give up on Derek Carr if he gets healthy, next year.
Still a younger guy.
Tampa, I think regardless of what happens, for sure, if Tampa wins this game and they win the division, Baker's getting an extension at Tampa. I think that's what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, what else are they going to do?
Right.
You're not bad enough to get a good pick.
Yeah.
And they have pieces on that offense. And
he's going to get extended.
Yeah, and obviously he's got some chemistry there with Mike Evans and Godwin and whatever.
Right.
I just think he's 1-6 against teams with a winning record.
Perfect.
That was the story here.
There you go.
And everybody wants to be comeback player of the year. I'm like, why? Because he
really? I haven't heard anybody talk about him being comeback player of the year.
Well, he's like right behind Flacco.
What?
Yeah.
Because, do you want to talk about this? I mean, DeMar Hamlin going to be probably the obvious choice. The NFL just wanting to throw shit out there for
the NFL is the only fucking thing that can go woke and not go broke.
Exactly, because the NFL is so fucking huge. Well,
because people don't give a fuck.
I mean, DeMar Hamlin,
because it's football.
16 fucking plays he's played all season.
Well, and this isn't a woke thing. It's just people want to, make people
elevate.
Yeah, I get it. All right, the guy almost died,
and I get that too.
Make another award for him.
Yeah, almost died award.
Right, you hit that guy.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been there. Right. Fucking T. Higgins, just on the sideline altogether. He shouldn't have been there. Right, but. Yeah, I get it. I get
to me, I want Flacco to win. I mean, honestly, you could give it to Stafford.
I actually like Stafford because he's the one. Like I said, I didn't even know Baker was in the running on this.
Well, yeah, because he's put up fucking numbers against shit teams.
Okay. I mean,
I was watching NFL Live, and they're like, who's thrown for more touchdowns and less interceptions?
Oh, yeah. I think I saw Cowherd with this, too.
But I was like, who has 6 fumbles?
Lamar Jackson.
Early in the season? Who shits his pants every time he plays a good team?
Lamar Jackson.
Well, not Lamar.
In the fucking playoffs?
Well, yeah. Well, that's... Again,
playoff Lamar.
I'm kind of thinking that's going to happen again.
Okay. I agree.
Because, I mean, it looks exactly like his last MVP
Let's not forget that Gardner Minshew and the Colts beat them at, MTD Field.
And we beat
whatever
them there.
The call them, right.
And Deshaun, who was such a horrible quarterback, we beat them there.
Yeah.
So now we have Joe Flacco.
Right.
We should beat him by 40 then, right?
God, what a game that's going to be.
Yeah.
I mean, if we have to go and play them, that's going to be so great. It's going to be so great.
That is awesome. Like, we finally got to see, us against Pittsburgh beat the hell out of them. The only thing in that matchup to me that I don't like is our tackles. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure in that game
True.
we didn't have DeJuan Jones. I'm pretty sure. I think we
Yeah,
had
I'd have to look
that,
back.
That
I'm
was
not
the,
sure.
That was the first game we had that Christian and Hudson play.
Okay.
But again, Deshaun was using his legs.
Was Wills out?
Yeah.
Gives a fuck.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just joking.
I think he's a little bit better than Christian, but Deshaun was
He
able
was
to
drafted
use,
a hell of a lot fucking higher too.
Yeah.
He should be.
right. But Deshaun was able to use his legs in that game. Like people remember that last drive. He had that hell of a run where he broke a tackle at 15. Right. Not saying that's exactly what you need, but it would give me more confidence going into there with those tackles.
Right.
But Joe's done a hell of a job.
Although I did see Joe last week make a couple moves and the week before to get out of some pressure.
He gets out of some pressure, but I don't know. I believe me, I think I have full faith that it can happen, but that's the one thing that gives me reservation.
Okay.
And they've been turnover happy. That defense has been getting a lot of turnovers.
They have.
And our offense likes to give it away.
Yeah.
And I'm not a proponent of, you can't turn the ball over, because I think with this defense, you can get away with one, unless one's like a end a half, chuck it,
Right.
I don't really care about that. I think you can get away with one in these playoff games. If you play Jacksonville, I think you can get away with two.
Well, Well, I don't think you want to go into Baltimore, though, and be on the losing end of the turnover deficit.
No, you want to be even, maybe -1.
Right.
I think defensively you're good enough.
And I'm going to bring this up again, though. You definitely can't play a game like we played against the Bears and give them the short fields with Lamar Jackson.
No, if you're giving them, you can't give them more than 7 points. If you give them 14, you're fucked.
Right.
Because then they can do whatever they want on offense.
Okay. Oh, that's something else we should talk about, too, is so the Jets are releasing Dalvin Cook this week.
Well, and he signed to Baltimore.
Right.
I almost feel like they did that so we didn't get him.
Could have.
Because they really
Would you have wanted Dalvin Cook?
I don't think it really would have mattered.
Is he that big of an elevation from Kareem Hunt?
Yeah. I think he's just quicker.
Okay. Blocker, though?
No. And you got to learn the system. But even though he knows the system, he played for Kevin Stefanski.
Well, the only thing I'm worried about, not on the rushing end, but I worry about, because of our offensive line, how beat up it is, maybe we want to stay with Kareem Hunt versus Dalvin Cook.
Well, to me, if they got Dalvin Cook, it'd be more Kareem Dalvin than it would be Jerome Kareem.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because he played for Kevin. He was the offensive coordinator in Minnesota.
That was a strategic move on Baltimore.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to play a lot.
No.
No, I mean they
they got Gus Edwards. They got Justice Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. He's going to get probably 10, 12 snaps.
Okay. All right.
I mean, that might change. And it was probably a little bit for depth reasons too, because they've had a lot of issues with the running back room with injuries. But I think a lot of that was just to make sure we didn't get him. Which, if I'm Dalvin Cook, why the fuck would you go to Baltimore? He ain't going to see the field. But he might think that that's his best way to get a ring.
Right. Speaking of running back,
13-3.
Speaking of running back rooms, J.K. Dobbins ripped J.K. Dobbins' fucking ACL for like 2 years in a row.
God, is it the same one?
I don't know, but fuck, whatever. Don't draft J.K. Dobbins in your fantasy league next year, everybody. Please don't do it. And then he'll be like the leading rusher.
He'll be like Christian McCaffrey.
Right. All right. Anything else you want to talk about as far as like the upcoming games this weekend? Whatever. No. All right. I want to get into college football a little bit. You came over. We had to watch the college football semifinal on New Year's Day. Actually, I watched both of them. I stayed up way too fucking late, but
I didn't watch that was too late for me to watch.
Yeah, I was watching. I watched the Texas Washington.
I was hungover.
Right. But so Michigan played Alabama in the Rose Bowl, Pasadena. Sorry, it was Pasadena. 1 o'clock game Pacific time, so 5 o'clock here. But we have to do this. So McAfee we got this clip in case nobody has seen it. I don't know if you've been under a rock.
Right.
So McAfee, here's the scenario. Of course, we all love the Pat McAfee show. Yeah, it was him, and I heard rumors that he hated the fact that he had to be up so fucking early.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know, what I mean, usually McAfee does his show like at noon.
Yeah.
So, but the scenario is this: they're talking about Jalen Milroe, and apparently he has his own clothing line with the acronym LANK, LANK. And it's Reese Davis, which is like Super Magoo. He's like, you know, your regular guy, your Jim Nance kind of guy. And then you got Desmond Howard, fuck that guy, on the other side of Reese Davis and Joey Galloway. Go ahead and play the clip. This is fantastic.
Jalen Milroe often wears his own branded apparel reading LANK across the front. It's an acronym that stands for Let a Naysayer Know. Being told by his former offensive coordinator, Bill O'Brien.
That is not what I thought.
Is that not what you thought?
Boy, let a naysayer know.
Let a naysayer know.
Of course.
The professional's right in the middle of his lead. That's all right. I just keep going.
You almost lost me again. It got real tight up here as you were. I just want to let you know.
Reese, you were too smooth with that. I thought it was going down. I thought it was going down.
I mean, it's like sunrise service over past the Reese Davis, like, yeah.
I looked over there.
Let a naysayer know.
Let a naysayer know.
Naysayer know. That's what we thought the whole time. That's what we all thought.
Those of us who are more pure in thought knew there was the naysayers who needed to know, and being told.
Oh, fuck. It's honestly the best.
McAfee just an all-time, just a legend.
He's saving ESPN. There's no
Oh, well, that's the reason they signed him to like $70 million. And
Right.
then they're like, oh, yeah, we're going to get rid of all these other assholes.
Right.
Because, you know, McAfee deserves the money. We see the talent. So good. Just all-time. So, Michigan played Alabama in that semifinal game. Like I said, you came over, watched it with me. First off, how bad were the snappers for both teams? We're talking long snapper for Michigan, which I don't think that's nearly as bad as what Alabama had to put up with. Right. Well, some people are arguing too, but whatever. I mean, they got that ball down for the field goal for Michigan.
Laces out, Dan.
Yeah.
No, dude, that Alabama center, he's in the transfer portal. If I was Liberty, I ain't taking that motherfucker.
Liberty actually had a really good season, so I don't know.
Right?
I don't know if that guy's playing for AU.
No. And if I was Nick Saban, I would use all the strings possible to make sure that he doesn't see a dime of NIL money.
Oh, are you giving a center any NIL money?
Who the fuck knows?
I mean, I would definitely give some NIL money for a different center in the transfer portal.
Yes.
After that,
he crushed one of the drives. Mm-hmm. And it was 2 plays in a row. And I know even if he fucked the one up, if the second one was okay, they had enough momentum. They were at least getting into field goal range, and they had a hell of a field goal kicker.
Yeah.
So right then and there, boom, you win the game. There's 3 more points. But the last play of the game, fucking send it right into the ground to him.
Right.
And that fucked the timing up. And you know, even that as soon as you pick the ball up, all he's trying to do is just try to get what he can get. Mm-hmm. But, you know, throughout that game, and then there was, you know, they had bullshit penalties. Oh, and apparently Michigan's just allowed to run right into the fucking punter.
Yes. That's a big one to me.
And they did, and I'll give this to Michigan. They dominated that first half.
They did. But I feel like Alabama kind of dominated the second half.
Then they did. But tell me if that would have given them a first down. I think it was 4th and 4. That would have given them a first down. Who the hell knows what happens at that point?
No, you don't know.
And obviously, it's not like Michigan was so much better talent-wise. Alabama's right there. I mean,
sure.
Ohio State's right there. It was a 6-point game when we played them. They're not, you know, this big fucking juggernaut. They got lucky, and then the fucking the punt that was muffed.
Yes.
The ball stops at the 1-yard line. If it goes another yard,
oh yeah,
that game's over.
Yeah, because there's a touchdown.
It's a touchdown.
It's over.
Yeah.
But you know, also too, you know, you're letting Michigan do what they want. You know, trying to come back and score that final touchdown.
Yeah. Well, and there was. Like the whole game, Michigan just apparently doesn't hold.
Right.
There's some pretty obvious ones.
Yeah, there was.
Like dudes getting tackled.
As much as I hate to admit it, though, I had to give the edge to J.J. McCarthy over Milroe. Let's go back to that, you know, last play.
Well, and I think Michigan's corners were better than Alabama's corners, which was surprising.
Yes, yeah. Well, we definitely saw that in the first half too, right?
Yeah.
And the play where, McCarthy goes and throws the ball, it gets tipped, stays on track though, and Roman Wilson pulling a fucking catch out of his ass.
Yeah.
To get him down there.
Yeah, that was a hell of a catch.
It was okay.
Because even live, we were like, "There's no way," and then they did that replay. I was like, "Fuck!"
It was a hell of a catch, but one more finger on that ball, and it's getting careened, in a good 4 or 5 fucking feet away from Roman Wilson.
Right.
So, I mean, shout out to the football gods, just not letting that extra finger getting up there.
Michigan has been shit for the last 20 some years.
Right.
So
right.
The pendulum swings back at some point.
Sure.
And even, before that, they haven't won a national title.
How about
for almost 100 years at this point.
48. Yeah, since, the invention of fucking TV.
Right.
Shout out to the boomers from World War II. Good job, Leatherheads. Anyway, also the final play, though. So Harbaugh goes, or who was it first? I think Harbaugh called the timeout first.
Yeah.
Okay, on the 4th down play, Milroe lining up right there, calls a timeout. Then Saban immediately calls a timeout also, back to back. Then it's the draw play, though. So Milroe could have ran that ball, and I heard it was an RPO. So he could have ran that ball.
Well, and the snap fucked the timing of everything.
It did. And once again, that center. That center, fucking it all.
I hope he gets Lou Gehrig's disease.
Then Milroe goes immediately and runs into the fucking ass of the pulling guard.
And people are like, "Oh, you should have followed his guard." But dude, he would have had to make a hell of a cut,
right,
to get there and not get tackled.
It almost seemed like Milroe might have lost his feet a little bit.
Yeah, and just like we were talking about when we thought he went down early in the game.
Yeah,
I think he lost his footing trying to make some sort of cut, because
I know
after that he was putting his shoulder into everything.
Yeah, he was yeah, that one, and I was surprised. I'm like, why is that guy sliding? So, but yeah, he was putting shoulders into people, for the rest of that game. So, man, I mean, Michigan,
and
I didn't think Michigan was gonna, my secret sauce to the whole thing was, if you finally take the lead over Michigan late in the game.
Yeah,
Michigan's not coming back. J.J. McCarthy's not making plays, and they're not coming back to win that game. But they did.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, but it really shouldn't have been at that point. But you give people enough opportunities, they're gonna make through. It's not like J.J. McCarthy's gonna be a first-round pick, but this is an actual signature win for him. And as much as I hate Michigan, I honestly hate him a lot more because Dave Portnoy's a fucking dumbass, dickhead.
Tool. Yeah.
Because to me, it's like, all right, finally, we have a fucking rivalry again. Michigan ain't a basketball school anymore.
Yeah.
But now it's like, fuck them.
Calling 5 timeouts.
If you are a Michigan fan watching this, enjoy it, because Harbaugh's gone.
He's gone, and we've been calling it. He's gone regardless if they win or lose.
He has an NFL agent.
Yep.
And the NCAA is about to bring down the hammer because it's the last thing that they can do.
Yep.
Because there's no, like we got fucked with dudes selling pants. They don't have anything to do with that anymore. The NIL is a real thing now.
Right.
If you're cheating on the field, they're going to fucking bring down the hammer.
Jim Tressel and Terrell Pryor.
And they might even vacate the win. So
that's going to be the only silver lining in this whole thing is somehow they vacate it. Of course, you're going to have Portnoy out there just fucking losing having a hemorrhage.
Red face. I can't wait.
Oh, I can't either.
Wait.
I mean, if it actually happens, fingers crossed. Now, obviously, also I want to get into the second game, which was Washington, Alabama. I stayed up way too late. I watched the game. I was secretly kind of rooting for Texas. I feel like, to me, I felt like Texas might have the best opportunity to go ahead and beat Michigan. I don't know now. I mean, shout out to Mark Wade, who had Michael Penix Jr., the Indiana transfer to Washington, as his Heisman favorite this year. I actually think, Mark, I agree with you. I was pulling for you all season, buddy. Michael Penix, I think he should have won it. Jaden Daniels just doing like Tecmo bullshit over there at LSU. It's hard for me to give the Heisman, though, to a team that because basically you're saying the Heisman is the MVP of college football.
Right.
It's hard for me to give it to a team that was like 8-5 or 9, whatever the fuck they were. Who cares? Brian Kelly over there just speaking in tongues. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't say that that is your Heisman. Regardless, I knew it was like 50 touchdowns for the kid, and great.
Well,
great
and Michael Penix was great last year.
Yeah.
And I think he might be one of those sleepers in the first round of the draft. Because I for a lefty, one hell of an accurate thrower of the football.
Right.
Good athlete. He's a little smaller than you might like, but it's not like drafting fucking Bryce Young.
Right. Right.
I mean, he's still like 6'2", 6'1", something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely, and not just because I hate Michigan, but I don't think Washington's ever won a national title, right? Maybe back in the fucking 40s.
Well, there was something that I saw about, because Warren Moon actually...
Did he play Washington?
Yeah, he played for Washington. I found out earlier this year. So they beat Michigan the last time that they played for a big game. Yeah, it was like, late 70s. It was like 79, 78, 79, right around there. So, but that game, I watched all of that Washington and Texas game as well, and it really came down. The Longhorns had they had 4 chances really down inside with no timeouts left. They drove the field, kind of like what Alabama did or Michigan did, I should say. They drove the field, no timeouts. Quinn Ewers out there doing his thing. Another ex-Ohio State quarterback. Actually he was from Texas.
Yeah.
Started off there, went to Ohio State, decided to get the hell out of there and go back to Texas. Okay, that's fine. So
he took his $1 million and ran, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
God,
so
I would have taken so much steroids in high school. So many steroids.
But the game was really came down to that last set of downs there. Texas just couldn't convert. They couldn't get it done, and here we are, national title game on Monday, right? Michigan, Washington. Sorry, Michigan, Washington. God, I mean, I just really hope that Penix has a fucking game, and somehow.
Well, and Washington's been building up to this point.
Yeah.
They've been either in the Final Four or around the Final Four for the last, 5 years? Mm-hmm. They have. I think they've done a hell of a job out there. If there's any team out of the Pac-12, obviously, that can compete in something like this.
Right.
To win that first round is no joke. Texas is no joke. They beat fucking Alabama.
Right.
And yeah, Michigan beat them, but that game could have went either way.
Right.
I think they're going to be they're ready to go. Penix obviously is a hell of a leader because they're probably undermanned against Texas, I would think.
Yeah.
I don't think they're getting that type of recruiting classes.
I do worry about the same thing you always kind of worry about, which I thought was going to get exposed. And when we were talking about, if Alabama takes that lead in that game, it's going against everything Michigan generally does, which is bleed the clock, run the ball, bleed
not
the
have
clock.
J.J. McCarthy throw a single pass in the second half like against Penn State.
Yeah. Right. So I don't know if Washington, if they do somehow get behind and Michigan starts, running the whole fucking third quarter. And
that was something that Alabama could actually stood up against
in the second half, right? So I mean, if Blake Corum, I just don't.
That's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be tough. Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Because that's a Big Ten offensive line. Like those are big guys. They can push people around. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. And yeah, I think their best chance of winning is for it to be a shootout.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they get a 2-score lead.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a shootout, Washington's winning.
Yeah.
I think if it's a shootout, Washington's going to win, but Michigan's not going to allow that to happen.
Their corners are really good.
Yeah.
So
they're going
to have to win some matches.
The one corner for Michigan, he's going to be
top 10.
Probably he's at least first round pick.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about that. So I don't know. I mean,
I
kind of
really think it'll be a good game.
I mean, I want Michigan to win. Oh, here we are, getting a call. Great. That must be one of our callers calling on my landline that I still have. God, pick up the phone.
It's 1983.
Right.
Boom.
Anyway, going back to, pulling for Washington, and then outside of that, if it doesn't happen, pull for a vacated national title.
I'm saying pulling for it. It's just going to be funny when it happens.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you guys won a national title. Cool.
And as much as I dislike the NCAA, yeah, for one time in my life, just do the right thing.
Well, they fucked us.
Sure.
I would have loved to seen Jim Tressel have an extended time here because I miss the days of lining it up in the I formation and pounding people in the throat.
Right.
And he really put an emphasis on recruiting linebackers. And our defensive personnel, you had Malcolm Jenkins, you had Cam Hayward, all those guys back in them days. I just feel like if that continued, it never would have gotten to this point. And I love Urban Meyer for what he did here.
Oh, yeah, I do too.
Obviously that's your second best choice.
But Tressel brought the program back, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You got past the Cooper years.
Yeah.
Tressel comes in because, like I've always said, the hardest thing about college football before like the NIL and all that was bringing a program back because you have to get the players.
Yeah.
To
do that, you had to win bowl games.
But to do that, to get the players, you had to start winning. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they're just two things that are both biting at each other.
Well, and, when Tressel got here, no one thought Ohio State was beating Michigan in 2002.
No.
Or 2000.
Nobody thought we were winning a national title against Miami.
No. And that completely opened up the floodgates to Florida recruiting. It opened the floodgates up to...
And then Urban Meyer kind of capitalized on that, coming from the SEC.
Yeah.
And then now...
Well, and we dominated Ohio, obviously, recruiting. But, before then, you had a lot of Ohio guys, Cleveland guys going to Michigan, to Michigan State.
Right.
When Tressel was here, that wasn't happening.
Okay. Yeah. But shout out to Tressel.
Yeah.
Tressel, to me, was like...
Well, and we're not in a spot where, like, when Michigan hired fucking Rich Rod, or when they hired, all Brady Hoke.
Right.
Like, we're still a good program, but there's something missing, and if Ryan Day doesn't get it done this year, he's got to be gone.
Right. Well, and I didn't know if you saw this news, though, too. Apparently, Ohio State just, speaking of transfer portal, picked up fifth-year eligible quarterback from Kansas State.
Yeah. Marvin Harrison Jr. still hasn't declared.
Right.
I mean, it's getting late. I think when's the latest you can do that?
I don't know.
It's
I don't
after
know
the
exactly.
national title game, right?
I know the transfer portal is going to close up, and then a new one's going to reopen, but I don't know what the cutoff is for that either. Something else I want to bring up about that, too. We're going to go to the 12-team playoff next year. What's your feeling about, because you got all these guys that are making the decision to not play in their bowl games? What do you feel about closing the transfer portal up until after bowl season?
I think there's a lot of rules that need to be changed with the transfer portal, with not NIL. I don't really give a shit.
No, not NIL.
But the transfer portal, I think it should go back to, if you're going to transfer, you got to wait a year to play, and you don't get that,
great point.
And you don't get that year of eligibility back unless you're a senior. I think that will eliminate a lot of this. Two, and something I did not know, I was watching Pat McAfee's show, and they had Nick Saban on, and they were talking about, last year when they didn't make it into the Final Four, they played their bowl game, and Alabama actually paid for some of the guys that were actually going to be heading to the NFL draft. They paid for their injury insurance.
Oh, okay.
So, say you were a second-round prospect, third-round prospect, there's actually insurance that they would pay for.
I didn't know about this either.
Yeah.
Okay.
McAfee said that I can't remember what he said. He paid a certain amount, but to have that, so these guys play in these bowl games. Either that, I do think with the expanded playoff, you're going to have, there's a lot of teams that know that they're never going to be a national title contender.
Right.
Or, if it's a 9-3 Ole Miss team playing a 8-4 Nebraska or a 10-2 Nebraska, and they get to play in the Rose Bowl, they get to play in the Cotton Bowl, those guys are going to play, I would think. But if you have that type of insurance in the background and you close the transfer portal, and if you make it so they have to wait a year, I think that'll fix a lot of the bowl games, because I miss being able to watch bowl games and actually fucking play their starters.
Right.
Because I thought it would have been really great to watch Florida State and Georgia play
with Florida State
actually
full strength. It would be great.
Even without their quarterback.
I mean, Jordan Travis still wasn't playing that game.
Right.
But it would be, Florida State's defense was actually much, much better.
I mean, even if it was a 20,
and I'm not saying
31
Jordan,
to 17 game,
right? And I'm not saying Georgia wouldn't have maybe won by a couple touchdowns, but they're not winning 63-3.
No, there was no starters playing in that game.
Right.
I think there's literally like 22 people that didn't suit up for that game.
Although it's still fun to pick on Florida State and their fans.
Yeah.
So Florida State's back.
But I mean, and that's like Florida State. They need to hitch a ride into the SEC or something, because the ACC is not going to be. They're not getting recruits help with recruiting in the ACC for sure.
Right.
I mean that's going to be a dying conference sooner than later.
So the 12-team playoff next year, though, obviously we think that it's Ohio State should be in it pretty much every year.
If they're not, then whoever the coach is needs fired.
I mean, Day's definitely out if we're not making that every year.
Yeah, because if you're 11-1, even if you lose to Michigan, you should be in that fucking.
Well,
you're going to be in top 10.
The other thing too with the NIL money, I mean, you're just going to get, they're saying, the blue bloods of college football, they're going to get stronger even. So you're going to see probably 6 teams that are going to be in there almost every year.
I'll tell you what, though, I think the rebirth of SMU is going to be back.
Wow. Okay.
There's a lot of big money.
I heard that.
There's oil money down there, and there's
a
lot of ex-NFL players that give money to that school.
Well, speaking of oil money, though, the Texas A&M, we talked about that too. Yeah. I mean,
well, they got to get I don't know what I think about their coach. I'll have to see what they do. But I mean, they've had great recruiting classes in the last 5 years. So.
Myles Garrett, right?
Well, yeah, that was
that was before that, but I'm saying
and they've always recruited.
I mean, if anything that we could take out of the Manziel years at Texas A&M is the fact that
Mike Evans, they have NFL prospects there all the time.
Yeah. So,
and they should be a player in the SEC every year. I don't understand why they're not.
Yeah. Well, Jimbo Fisher,
but Texas
laughing
is
to the bank,
right? Jesus.
Well, speaking of Florida State,
Oklahoma, I think it'll help Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Just for being in the SEC, but I don't think they'll ever. Not like maybe 1 year they'll win it and they'll be the best team in the SEC, but I don't think they're going to be perennial like they were in the Big 12.
No, I wouldn't think so too. And did the Big Ten get their shit pushed in from the SEC this year? Yeah, they did.
But it didn't happen in the last 4 years. I think we had winning records. Although
although I can still make the argument that whole Big Ten West this year was just totally down.
Yeah, and we didn't play anybody against Mizzou.
No.
And we only, it was 3-0 and going in the fourth quarter.
I mean, Penn State, though, getting fucked.
Well, that rookie quarterback was, talk about overhyped.
Yeah, Drew Aller.
Yeah.
Medina guy, right?
I think
he played in Medina.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, fuck that guy. We'll see what happens later on with that. All right. Moving on here, we're going to get down to our CJs, our crying Jordans of the week, and we'll try to elaborate a little bit on this. If you don't know exactly what's been going on, I don't know how you couldn't. What do we want to start off with? We got how about go ahead, just pick one, Ryan, and we'll just kind of go with it.
Dude, this is the most majestic CJ I've ever seen in my life.
Rip Brian Brush. I'm sorry. Going.
No, dude, I'm as pissed as you guys, but this is one of the greatest CJs I've ever seen.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I'm really surprised somebody didn't put one on Mufasa.
Right.
I mean, that would have been an all-timer. Maybe I could make something like that up, but would be.
This had to take time.
With
the blue?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So
still has the beard. I mean,
that happened. We went to the Jets-Browns game last Thursday. Then this happened. It was Monday Night Football on Saturday night. And the whole thing with the Lions, everybody's talking about it all week. The Lions just absolutely getting royally fucked here, I think. Taylor Decker, ex-Ohio State tackle, goes up. They had to check. He had to go ahead and check in as eligible, which the Lions coming back, Mike McCarthy just being a fucking dipshit that Mike McCarthy is, and the Lions coming back down the field with no timeouts, and the Lions get down, punch it in the end zone. Dan Campbell taking off kneecaps, deciding to go for 2 to try to end the game. Doug Peterson did this last year. It worked out in his favor. He won a game. Just decided to go for the win instead of going for, Skinner, right? The one, oh, man. The guy that supposedly was called out to the defense as the eligible receiver.
If you watch it, obviously you went up there and reported.
Yeah.
But
Skinner came in really late, though, because Decker and another guy came up, and then Skinner came in. But here's my thing, and I heard a great argument for this. Why don't they put body cams on the refs? This is somebody that somebody threw out there, and I think it actually could have some weight.
Yeah.
There's another angle I want to take on this, too, is the NFL stop being fucking dickheads and just employ these refs year long.
I don't know. This should have happened in the fucking early 90s.
Right.
This has been a highly profitable league since the late 70s.
Right.
It makes no sense. And you'd say they could literally fund full-time refs.
Right.
On fucking fines that players get.
Oh, great point. I didn't even think about that.
And coaches. There's no way they could.
I didn't even think about that. Great. But
they wouldn't have to.
I mean, the biggest thing, of course, Jerry World was really loud down there. Whether the ref reported the wrong guy as eligible or not.
Is there audio of what he said who reported?
I haven't heard that either.
So that's, to me...
that's the whole thing with the body cam
I
like. The whole idea of that.
Well, if you're the coach and you have somebody going in there to report, you should be listening for that to make sure, especially if you're doing something where you're putting 2 people up to
I like
report,
that too. I like it.
That's what they say. They have to say there's 68 eligible, 70 eligible. If it's the wrong guy, boop.
Well, and a lot of times you can hear it in the stadium, but of course in a closed stadium, it was so loud. It was so loud there.
And the one thing too is he said he talked to the refs beforehand.
Correct.
Beforehand, and so they should have known what the fuck was going on.
Right, and if Dan Campbell, if that's true, and he told the refs pregame that, hey...
And I'm sure there's probably fucking... Just like there's the Lost Miles, Garrett Mason, Rudolph audio.
Yeah.
There has to be audio for that.
And the NFL's never letting that out.
No.
They're never letting it out.
No.
We do know this, that ref and his crew are ineligible for the playoffs.
And as they should.
Right.
As they should.
But the NFL definitely, they need to just go ahead and employ refs.
Got to declare for the draft by January 5th. Or 15th.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I mean, that's closing in for... If Marvin was going to be declaring for the draft, you think it would have already happened?
I would think so. Especially,
Especially with the quarterback, a fifth-year senior.
Right.
Transfer to Ohio State.
And I heard, through the grapevine, there was going to be a big transfer portal quarterback that was going to go to Ohio State, and maybe that's the reason why Marvin Harrison wasn't declared.
I mean, are we getting to the point where these... And Marvin Harrison, I think, is an exception. But you might be getting to the point where it's like, some of these guys are going to get paid big money to stay in college.
Right.
They're going to have a little bit of leeway on what, hey, if you want me to stay, get that guy.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Great point. That might be his guy. Because why would Ohio State I'm not saying why would Ohio State...
I thought Colin McCord was his guy.
Well, in high school maybe.
Right.
But, I mean, to get a guy from Kansas State, they could get a guy from anywhere. They have a 4-star, 5-star sitting on the bench.
Right.
So, to go out and get a guy like that, it indicates to me even more... And I think this guy's going to make as much money as he would basically in his first contract in the NFL to play one more year at Ohio State. That's a shit ton of money. The guy's already got a lot of money.
Right.
He wants to win a Big Ten title. He wants to beat Michigan, wants to win a national championship. Why not? And he probably doesn't want to play in Chicago or whoever else is New England. Why the fuck would you want to go to New England?
Well, that's the other thing we don't really know about either is Chicago going to parlay that pick back and try to get more picks? I don't know. I mean, it's all going to come down if Justin Fields is that going to be their guy, which we really don't know yet.
Me personally, I would stick with Justin Fields, even because he's not going to reset the market. You're going to have to give him a market deal. That's going to be $40 million a year, $45 million a year. I don't think he's going to reset the market, but you're going to have. He's still young, very talented. Use that pick, go back, get offensive lineman. If Marvin Harrison's available, go get him or get the guy coming out of LSU. Keep building around.
Yeah.
Because every time they add pieces there, he just gets better. So, Chicago's a very hard place to play quarterback, just like Cleveland. So,
but then again, you think about this too. You think about DJ Moore on the one side and Marvin Harrison Jr. on the other.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
If he comes out.
Correct. And, if Chicago would draft him number 1 overall.
Well, and they might not have to.
Right.
Because they'll be like, hey, if you want the number 1 overall pick, you're drafting Caleb Williams, right?
Okay.
Or if not, they already have a number 1 or number 7 pick or number. No, it's probably less than that.
Yeah, it's less than that.
12 or 13 because they've been winning.
Yeah, I'd have to look for sure to find out what that is. But
somebody would go up to number 1 to get the quarterback.
Right, they always do.
So you're probably gonna get their first round pick this year. You're gonna get another first round pick next year. A couple second, third, fourth round, whatever the fuck that is.
And then if you're a Bears fan, you got to be happy with where you're at with all these picks.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that they're going to keep Fields.
And they got plenty of right. And
let's say that they go ahead and just because they're kind of showcasing him at the end of the season,
and you could still probably get 1 first round and a second and a third.
I think they could probably still get a first out of the right buyer.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Falcons.
Atlanta
Falcons.
Pittsburgh.
Fields is from fucking Georgia.
But Pittsburgh definitely.
Oh, yeah. Atlanta,
which I would hate, but it makes sense.
Well, Atlanta is notorious for taking, regardless of the need, they take the best guy in the draft. Why are they not taking this guy?
Right. Yeah, why'd they pass up on him?
No, I'm saying, why wouldn't they take Fields
right.
for a 1? Yeah. At least a 1.
Yeah. Young, and he'd be great in that dome.
That's the other thing, too. So think about that. You get to play in a dome in Atlanta.
He's played really well in shit weather.
Yeah.
So, to give him that, and they had plenty of weapons on that offense.
Right.
And they'd have plenty of cap room. Mm-hmm. They're not paying a quarterback. All that dead cap that they had with Matt Ryan's gone.
Sure.
So,
right.
Yeah, Atlanta would be a good spot. Like I said, I think Pittsburgh would probably be calling about him. And to me, at that point, it'd be very great if he sucked after that. But
right,
I don't want him to go there because then I'd have to root against them.
Of course, the last Ohio State quarterback they got hit on a freeway, but rip Dwayne Haskins.
Right,
can't say that.
We definitely got off a tangent there.
Right, it's okay. All right, let's bring up another one here. We already did the Dolphins for Mike McDaniel, so we'll spare. Oh yeah, here we go.
David Tepper.
So David Tepper, there was. I'm sure people have seen this footage too. If you haven't, I don't know. But David Tepper this last week from the press box was so pissed he decided to go up and throw a drink on a Jacksonville fan that was in the stands from his press box. And I thought the dude was going to climb into the press box and go after him.
Yeah, because that window was open.
Yeah, it was open. Well, yeah, because otherwise, how would he have known he hit him with the drink?
Well, right, but that was a huge fucking window.
Yeah. If you're with him, you're with that Jacksonville fan, or you just kind of give him a hoist to get up in there?
Yeah, fuck him.
Right.
Yeah, he's done nothing but destroy Carolina in the last...
Right.
Because...
3 coaches in 2 years, right?
Yeah, and if you're...
And Christian McCaffrey... And DJ Moore gone.
And you've gotten what out of it?
Right.
Fucking the smallest quarterback in league history. At least Doug Flutie weighed 200 pounds.
Your best wide receiver was over the hill Adam Thielen this year.
Right.
So, it's...
Well, right, even if, it's too young for fucking Bright, but they have nothing there for him, but obviously, I watched 2 games of him playing. And you could just see that he's not big enough to.
No, agreed.
You have to be.
You and I called it last year, though.
You have to be able to see over the line, and even the smaller quarterbacks that have made it in the league are 5'11", 6 foot. This dude's what 5'9"?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Kyler Murray's shorter, right?
Yeah.
Kyler's kind of.
But he's an athlete. He can move around.
Yes.
He's got a good arm and he's thicker.
Yeah.
Like Bryce Young is
He's thin.
He's behind the 8 ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
agreed.
That's just the way it is. Like,
well, hopefully, maybe he'll sign with Denver and take them their ass to the cleaners again. Whatever.
But I mean, Dave Tepper
straight up trade with Russell Wilson.
I mean, Carolina from 95 or 96, whenever that was, to 2014 was a pretty decent franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Delhomme, Cam Newton. They had a couple Super Bowl runs. I mean, NFC Championship games.
Yeah.
That was a good franchise.
Sure.
And the last 10 years.
At least the last 4 or 5 since Tepper's been there, right?
Yeah. But, I mean, since Cam had that shoulder injury, they've been fucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's sad for them, but, that's what you get. We got fucked in our
any chance
expansion franchise
any
bullshit.
chance that the NFL commission, spurred by the owners, decides to put pressure on him, Jerry Jones comes down with his gavel and says, yeah, Tepper, you're fucking out of here. You're making us look bad.
No, because he's richer than all of them.
Well, I get that, but can they put the
like
pressure
having
and just
that
kind
money.
of just
I don't
leave
think
him
they
out
care.
of the fucking tea
Have you
and
seen-
trumpet parties?
But have you seen any of that shit on the media? They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It was there for 12 hours, and after that, he said he's sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry. All right. And his fine, what was it? $300,000, which is like 3 cents to us.
Which he probably keeps that in a sock somewhere.
Right. Right. Any chance that Jacksonville fan just goes to court with a neck brace on?
Oh, dude, I would. Oh my God, my neck.
There's some Misney ambulance chaser that's like, hey, call me.
I'll make him pay.
Right. And he might. I mean, I was surprised Misney's not to try to find out who that guy is right now.
Right.
We're taking Misney nationwide.
The
bitches.
phone lines are hot.
Right. All right. Next up, what do we got? Oh, Bevo. Oh, boy.
Wasn't there something this year about the Longhorn getting murdered on?
Oh, yeah. I talked about that story. That was Oklahoma State. Yeah, it was Oklahoma State, but it was outside of some frat house. And some Longhorn got slaughtered and thrown on their yard. Outside their dorm or some shit. It was weird.
Oh, dude.
Just
frat
so
houses
weird.
are the best.
Oh, absolutely.
If I could go back in time, I would definitely have gone to college.
Poor
for that.
Bevo. That was an all-timer, though, too. I love that one.
Oh, yeah.
I love that one.
What
What else we got?
What else do we got? Oh, well, of course.
And once again, another all-timer, I think.
That's just a beautiful black head.
The old BCS trophy. The Brian Jordan.
Jesus.
Poor Saban.
Oh, and this had to take some time.
Yes.
I think his forehead grew a little bit.
Oh my goodness! And so, we talked about the Eagles just kind of being in shambles right now, with losing 4 in a row.
Well, they're the 2020 Steelers.
Yeah. So how big is that though? That Detroit goes and gets fucked, but then
They could be playing for the first.
here we go.
Yeah.
I mean, San Francisco has the one locked up, but now
No, they would not have it locked up if they had won that game because they would have the same record.
Oh, they did? I thought San Francisco had a lock. If they won, I thought they had it locked up regardless.
No.
But the problem with
because they're 12-4.
Okay.
And the Lions are 11-5.
Oh no, I was talking about the Eagles. I thought you were talking about the Eagles.
But I thought you were talking about the Detroit game.
I am too, but I'm saying because Dallas ended up winning that game, and because the Eagles lost that game, now that game is going to be for the division come this weekend.
Oh
right?
yeah, but it also fucks the Lions.
Right.
Because if that all happened, they'd still be playing for the 1 seed.
That's true. No, I agree with you on that. But I was
or at
referring
least
to
the 2 seed, and I don't think they can get that now because Dallas has the tiebreaker, and I think they have the tiebreaker over them as well.
Yes.
So whoever wins that game gets.
That ref in the Detroit game basically changed the landscape of the NFC playoffs.
Yeah. They gave San Fran the week off.
Yeah.
Well, and I hate to say it, and I seen it on the McAfee show. The last 3 or 4 Super Bowls,
yeah,
the color of the fucking emblem.
Oh, yeah, I've seen TikToks about that,
and
too.
it's fucking Baltimore
and the 49ers. Although, I mean, is there any hue of blue and orange in there? That's when they're kind of mixing together.
Well, and I'll say this too.
Because Lions-Browns will be all-timer.
Well, and I'll say this too. There is a smell, a hint. Like when we were up in Cleveland that day, was there any worry that we were going to lose?
No. I didn't have one.
And there've been, through all the thick and thin of the season this year, there's been a lot of people that jumped off the bandwagon. I have been one of them. There's maybe...
Oh, yeah.
There was a slight point maybe in the Denver game where I was like, fuck, but I still knew when we came back home against Jacksonville we're going to win. There is a different type of team in Cleveland now. I think it's almost of destiny. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not predicting it 100%, but I have a feeling that
I agree with you.
That it's gonna take some type of absolute storm of perfection from a team in the playoffs in the AFC side to beat us.
Yeah.
And that's the only I said, Baltimore is the one team that I think matches up with us better than anybody. Kansas City, I'm not afraid of. Buffalo, I think we beat by a landslide. I don't think their defense is as good as people. You said they were getting better. They have been.
And they've been getting healthier. And they've been getting
hot.
And
I think our defense would fuck Josh Allen up. We have corners to go with Stephon Diggs. They don't really have a great tight end.
Right.
There's nobody in the AFC that scares me. And we've already beat San Francisco. The only thing that would scare me there is them having Chase Young. So, of course they got him for a third-round pick. But, I think that would be a great game regardless. We beat him with PJ. We got Flacco. And I mean, just to even get to that game would be one thing. But, yeah.
I got to go to the restroom.
All right.
Be right back. Entertain the guests. All three of them.
Okay. Who do we got in here? I think somebody's watching off my profile. I don't know. I don't see any comments. But yeah, no, I honestly think this is going to be a hell of a ride. I think every Browns fan going into 2020, we were just happy to be there. And for good reason, because, we lost a bunch of people because of the COVID. We lost our head coach, lost our Pro Bowl left guard. There was a lot of people not playing in that game. Thankfully, we had Baker, who was hot. We had Chubb, who was, the best running back in football. Landry was still there. We had a lot of key pieces that were still there, just like this year. But, our defense is historic. There was a stat that was out today that the Browns, since 1996, this means better than the 2000 Ravens, better than the 2002 Buccaneers, that the Browns got off the field, meaning they're the best third down defense, best first and second down defense in the league, in league history since 1996. They've been generating a lot of takeovers lately. They didn't do that at the beginning of the season. And to go into the playoffs with that kind of defense and how hot our quarterback is right now, the only other team that is as hot or hotter is the Baltimore Ravens. So that's the only team that would give me pause.
All right. I didn't hear everything you had going on there, but
yeah, just some random stats for the audience.
Okay. All right. Do we bring out the Michigan one there, or the one we did for Portnoy?
Oh no!
Oh yeah. So this one here, I kind of made this one up, and a couple different clips here. Not exactly a CJ, but yeah, Portnoy came on with his mom. Just, Sans Pizza.
Yeah.
Although.
Fuck him.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
I don't know why it wasn't uploaded.
And if you look down, I got him a sponsorship by Domino's and Little Caesars. And down there in the corner is Connor Stallion still, or over Portnoy's mom, just kind of hanging out. So, yeah, fuck that guy. I cannot wait.
His tears
If
will
Washington,
be very good
if Washington beats them, which I'm hoping they beat the shit out of them, but if not, to have their championship vacated
Yeah.
by the NCAA.
Because then that'll be 3 weeks of him crying.
Yeah.
And stuttering and spitting at the camera.
And Harbaugh leaving, regardless. We're in agreement. He's leaving.
Yeah.
You know, I said this when this whole Stallion shit was going on. I said it then. He's gone, regardless of what they do. He's gone. Because now Michigan's wanting him to sign a contract without going to.
And they rescinded it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can't talk to an NFL
Correct.
team.
And he didn't sign it. Why didn't he sign it?
He's going to take offers.
Yes.
And why would he stay at a program that's about to get the axe?
Yep.
Because he's probably going to miss a year. And at that point, why would Michigan keep him on?
Right.
It makes no sense.
Yep.
So this is their last hurrah. And
I mean, what are you going to bring in? Jerome Moore, the crier?
Oh, God, I hope so.
I mean, Portnoy's always like, oh, crying Ryan. Okay. Really?
Well, there's one guy that actually cried on camera.
Yeah, he did. So, fuck that guy. All right. Anything else we're missing here?
I don't think so, brother.
Okay. All right, so this is our first time streaming on Twitter. I'm still kind of trying to work on the TikTok lives. We got to get to 1,000 followers. So if you guys could hop over on TikTok, that would be fantastic. And give us a follow on there if you haven't already.
We have all that information on our Facebook page, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You can go over there, get the YouTube, and then, just follow us at RawDawgers Sportcast over on Twitter. We have the same emblem, as we do on our Facebook page. We got the shirt.
Yep.
Right there
in our
giveaways,
bubble. All that good stuff. So
yep.
If you're part of the clan there.
Absolutely.
If you're a Raw Dogger.
We are. The Raw Dog fam.
Yep.
Okay. Appreciate everybody sharing, everybody tuning in, giving us everything you got. Everything you got. And RawDawgers out.